Smiley's Plastering, providing award-winning plastering and rendering services for over 25 years. I will handle everything from a small repair to a whole commercial building inside and out. Get a free quote day or night and every job gets a Smiley's touch. Give us a call on 0417 730 926 or visit the website smileysplastering.com.au.
Well, I want to start with talking to you about being the captain.
It's a very special thing for me when you get to, I guess, when I think of myself and the role I have in the team, and that's to captain them. For me, it just means, I guess, trying to have a really good knowledge of what we're trying to do as a team and what we're trying to achieve, and then working really hard to make sure that we all get there. It's not just about yourself in a team sport, it never is, but when you're the captain, it's about how do you get other people up to a certain level and how do we as a team achieve what we want. So for me, I try and make sure I understand the game of hockey really well and our game of hockey as the Hockeyroos, and then from then it's just working hard and working out how you get on with your teammates and how you can, I guess, get them to where they need to be.
Do you remember the first time you were told you were going to be the Hockeyroos captain?
Yeah, it was a while ago. It was in 2009, and after the Olympics, both our captains, Melanie Wells and Nikki Hudson, retired, and we were going into a tour in 2009, and Frank Murray, the coach, had said, "You'll be captaining along with one of the other girls for this tournament," and I just assumed he meant for that tournament and then they'd get someone else, but it worked out that that was the first time I captained, and I've captained since then. So it's been quite a few years, and at the start, I guess you're trying to find your feet as a leader and how you want to lead and that kind of thing. But yeah, it was a big moment. It probably wasn't as big at the time because I didn't realise that it would be a more permanent thing, I guess.
So what do you think what's your personal attribute that you bring to that role that makes you a good captain?
I think the way I like to captain is just quite calmly, I guess, and I like to think that makes me a good captain on the field. It's just that composure and understanding of what I need to do and what we need to do. So for me, I guess I've learnt a lot about my sport and a lot about hockey in general. So I think for me, that's what gives me confidence to be a good leader, is that I understand what we're trying to do and I understand what works in different situations.
Now, I've read you talk about the structure. Can you explain what you mean by the structure for the team?
I think I just mean the way that we want to play. If you were looking at our team, what would you see? You have, I guess, not rules in place of the way that you want to play, but guidelines and a certain style you want to play. So when things are going wrong, we try and just encourage our players to just stick to the way that we want to play as a brand, as the Hockeyroos. And that's what I think we mean with fall back on your structures, fall back on the way that we play, the style that we play, the things that we're good at, the things that we know work, rather than going above and beyond and trying harder and harder to do things that just aren't in your day-to-day practice. Fall back on what you're good at, what you've been practicing and what works for our team.
So how would you go about that? Middle of the game, you've seen someone do something that you don't consider to be within that structure. Do you go over and have a quiet word? Do you wait until the next huddle or the ball goes out? How do you deal with it?
I think if you're in close proximity, it's easy just to give a really quick message.
What would you say?
I'd just say that's not what's expected, that's not what we're doing, that's not what we're trying to achieve. And most of the time, to be honest, if someone's just made a really rash decision, they know as well. It's just that reminder. That's not part of our game plan, is probably what I'd say. It's not part of what we do, it's not part of who we are, if it's like a discipline thing or whatever. But most of all, it's just that really quick message, and then you learn and you can move on rather than dragging it out. If it's happened a few times from different players, it'll probably get brought up in the next huddle or quarter time or half time, just to reinforce to everyone if we've kind of let things slide a little bit. But I always think the quick message straight away while it's fresh, and then you can just move on and start the next thing.
Have you ever had to pick yourself up for it?
Yeah, for sure. I think most of all, you expect that you do certain things, and I would also expect that if I'm in that position, that someone would tell me. It's not a captain telling everyone else what to do, it's just a teammate telling everyone else to do. So we expect that if I'm out of line, someone pulls me into line. If someone else is, and whoever's closest to them will do it. It's not just everyone turn around and wait for one of the old girls to do it. It's generally there are people that you work closely with on the field or a lot at training, and you tend to give a lot more messages to those people, but generally it's just a responsibility. Whoever's A, recognised it, and B, I think within distance of saying it and passing that message on. It's not like we have set people who are in charge of certain areas. It just doesn't work like that. That's probably a little bit too concrete. You know, we like to be a little bit more flexible than that. So I think, yeah, if you're in proximity of it and you understand what's going on, then you have every right to say it to whoever it is that's kind of out of line.
Now, you've had the experience as the captain, or the incumbent captain, being injured and sitting and watching the team from the sideline. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's always difficult when you're injured. I found it difficult at World Cup last year. It was a big tournament. We did really well, but I missed the first 3 games, I think, with a calf injury. And I guess you always feel like, well, I certainly felt, I can't speak for anyone else, but you feel like you're letting your teammates down a bit. And I think, especially as captain, in a big tournament, you need players that have been there before to perform well, and I wasn't able to do that. I could sit on the sideline and watch the girls do very well, which was great, and then step back in later in the tournament. But you have that little bit, I guess, of guilt because you're not out there helping your teammates. They're a player down, but they're also down someone that's generally been around a lot and has a lot of experience in that area. But the girls didn't worry about it too much. They won those 3 games, so it was no worries for them. But more for me, it was just a little bit of guilt having to sit by and watch the other girls do the work.
It is quick fire time, so let's start with the easy one.
Okay.
Favourite colour?
Gold.
On your finger?
Around my neck.
Round your neck, okay. Favourite side of music?
Anything poppy. The girls make fun of me. I sing along to Justin Bieber sometimes. So.
There we go. Favourite song, Justin?
Oh, I don't know names, so I just make up words.
Favourite TV show?
I like Criminal Minds.
Favourite movie?
Ooh, probably classic from when I was a kid, Cool Runnings.
Nice. What's your favourite place in the world that you've been to or you'd like to go to?
I've been to a few places in Spain, but would love to go back on a holiday just to tour around a bit more.
What's your biggest disappointment?
Coming 5th at 2 Olympic Games, where we were this close to playing off for a medal, but couldn't quite do it.
Who's your worst roommate?
Oh, the worst ones to room with, I think, are people like Georgie Parker, who are always late, and I always like to be on time, so they cause massive stress.
Who's the funniest person you know?
Jane Claxton's a bit of a funny one in our team. She's a bit sneaky, a bit creepy, but she always makes everyone laugh.
And any really funny moments that you can relate?
Not from Jane so much, but we've been on tour before and our manager set her hair on fire, which was not funny for her, but pretty funny for everyone else.
What's your greatest achievement?
I think playing for the Hockeyroos for more than 10 years, I think, is a big achievement.
What's your biggest goal that's left?
Rio, having success in Rio.
Who's your role model?
I've looked up to a couple of people. I always try and follow female sport as much as I can. So people like Lane Beachley, Lauren Jackson, who just dominated their sport for so long.